Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? It's Joy here from Spain Speaks with an update video today. As you can see, we have some extreme conditions at the moment and things not looking good from a weather point of view. Very, very cold, very, very snowy as you can see. The snow has been falling here for about the last hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. It snowed quite heavily yesterday. And today, of course, the snow is back. We'll go into my back garden here and we can have a look at what type of snow we've got here in Madrid at the moment. So I'll turn the camera around so you can see, and this is what we're dealing with here. This is the back garden. This is where I would normally be filming those videos here, sitting down over here somewhere. And you can see here that we've got, let's have a look. Well, a few centimeters of snow there. Not really sure how many centimeters. Probably about 5, 6, maybe 7 centimeters of snow that's fallen in the last hour and a half. And getting quite a good covering around the back garden here. So I'll make my way back down here now. Walking through here. I've got to be careful that I don't fall over. The snow's quite soft. It hasn't turned to ice yet. So it's not as dangerous as it's going to be in a few hours' time. But I'll just walk carefully through here as I go. Got my son down here building a snowman. Doesn't want to go on camera. We'll keep walking. And here we are outside. Let's have a look around. Really snow coming in here from the north, I think. So there you go. That's just a quick update of what it's like here at the moment outside in this part of Madrid. Very, very cold, as you can see. Now I'm going to go back inside and we can continue the video there where it's a little bit warmer. All right, so I'm back inside now, as you can see, back into the warmth of my office here. Quite cold outside and more snow expected to fall over the next 24 hours. And I don't know what the situation is going to be like tomorrow, because normally what happens here when we get snowfall like that is that the city is paralyzed. Nobody can move. Public transport gets interrupted. And because we live here on a hill, all of the streets go down and it can become quite slippery getting down and getting back up again, especially if you need to go to the shops or get something done. That's going to be difficult for the next couple of days, because as I said in a video a few days ago, the last time it snowed like that here, it took about 2 weeks for the ice on the sidewalks or the footpaths to melt. So I imagine it's going to be a similar situation for the next week or so, because the temperatures are going to get down to -11 overnight in a couple of days' time. So there you go, this part of Spain at least, not the hot country that people think that it is. And the prediction for the snowstorm of the century here in Madrid came true. Now a quick update on what's happening here in Madrid. More restrictions have been announced. My neighborhood here hasn't been confined or closed yet, but there are neighborhoods close by that are going to be closed as of Monday. And basically I think that is going to be the situation for the next couple of months. We can see here on a map of Madrid, this is the area that I'm living here, and you can see the orange parts are the parts that are going to be confined or locked down as of Monday. So it looks as though we're going to be trapped here for the next couple of weeks, not only by snow, but also by all of these areas that are closing around us. So the health situation not looking good in Madrid. The incidence rate now creeping above 400 in a lot of areas. And of course, this is forcing politicians to bring in stricter measures. The new hospital here in Madrid, the COVID hospital that was inaugurated at the beginning of December, is apparently now the #1 hospital for COVID patients in the Madrid region. And hopefully that new hospital is taking pressure off the other hospitals in the capital so that people are not turned away due to the pandemic. Now there was a fair bit of feedback on yesterday's video about some areas here in Spain, especially some of the more abandoned areas offering people incentives to move there. I think Cuenca, Soria and Teruel were the 3 areas mentioned, and these areas of course have slowly been depopulating over the decades. And believe it or not, it's not the first time that politicians have come up with schemes to try to get people back into these areas. Since I've been living here, I've seen various attempts to try to repopulate these places. A few years ago they were trying to encourage people from South America and people from Africa, people that were immigrating to Spain, to try to move there, giving them incentives like automatic residency if they moved to these places. But the problem is that people don't want to live in these places anymore. And this is a trend that's not only happening in Spain. As many people pointed out in the comment section, this is happening all over the world. People are moving to cities, people are getting educations, they don't want to live in these areas, they don't want to work on the land, people don't see any opportunity in these places, and every year more and more people move to the big cities here in Spain and other big cities around the world. So maybe I'm a little bit skeptical, but I think it's going to be very difficult for politicians to convince people to move to places like the ones that I mentioned, unless there's a real effort from those politicians to increase infrastructures to make sure that people can get what they need to live in places like that. You hear all the time that people come to live in a place like Madrid because there's better hospitals, better schools for children, more job opportunities. So those are some of the issues that also need to be dealt with. I mean, it sounds fantastic to offer somebody a discount on their social security payments or their tax rate, but if they can't get a job. A couple of months ago, I traveled to rural Galicia and I met a guy called Pascal who's done something similar. He's moved to one of these remote areas here in Spain, but he's got a project. He wants to set up a farm, but he's able to work remotely in the meantime until all this comes to fruition. But you have to be keen and have some type of plan because it can be a fairly lonely way of life for some. And a lot of people obviously don't have a similar plan or are willing to make that sacrifice and prefer to move to a city where they think the streets are paved with gold. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and every year it gets harder and harder to live in places like cities. So we'll see whether politicians in those 3 autonomous communities are successful with their plan and whether they can convince people to move to those areas. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego from snowy Spain.